Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and this is going to be a brief little review for Natsuki Rendezvous, Episode 8. Another great episode in the series, and one of my favorites right now because I feel like by the end of it, we really got a strong sense of progression for Hazuki's character especially, and I'm just really amped to see the next episode after it. But we essentially begin where we left off in the last episode with Hiroka going into her flower shop and seeing a ghostly vision of her former husband, which I think was actually more of a hallucination. You know, we know that he's very much still possessing the body of Hazuki and he's gone off somewhere. So I think this is down to what I was discussing in the last episode review, that she's just so mentally fatigued with this, she cannot differentiate anymore between who she's falling in love with, her husband or this new man in her life. And so that's what led up to this vision. But of course, we build off of that with her finding an IOU for flowers, and it's actually signed in Atsushi's handwriting. Now, this just sends her going around the entire flower shop to look and find his things are all missing, both on the downstairs storefront and upstairs in his little apartment where he had storage space. And all of his stuff that she finds gone, there's just one thing that she really wants back, and that's this little potted plant. And I think that's very interesting. I'm wondering if it has something to do with maybe, Atsushi's ashes are in it or something. But who knows? Basically, we know that Atsushi, who is embodying Hazuki's body, has gone in and taken all his stuff. He's packed it all up in a backpack, and he's gone off somewhere, and we're not exactly sure where. Now, Roka kind of looks at it like it's Hazuki stealing things because, of course, she's not really sure what's going on. And it just adds to her confusion when she finds all those, bouquets of flowers out on the storefront floor, every one of them pertaining to some sort of special memory between her and her husband. I mean, birthdays, Christmas, holidays, Halloween, all of these different bouquets mean something, and she remembers each one of them specifically. Of course, we see that she goes upstairs, and when she goes into the room, in the garbage pail, she finds some notes, something about, eating a piece of his bone in death and whatever like that. I'm not quite sure if that's metaphorical or meant to be literal, but in any event, this really awakens this just strange curiosity and the strange vibe within Roka. And we see via flashbacks that she and her husband did talk about wanting to go visit places, but of course, Atsushi, having been in a hospital bed, basically on his deathbed, this was something he never really took seriously, but it seems like that's what he's doing. It seems like he's going somewhere they talked about. And so we do see that Roka ends up asking Miho to come in, the sister-in-law, to take over the shop, and she says, I want to know what's going on when you get back, but I'll forgive it for now. And so Roka just puts a backpack on her own shoulders, and she goes off to not really knowing where, I think she's trying to follow wherever it could be Atsushi/Hazuki is going. And so she's very much flying by the seat of her pants, and I hope that she will actually find Atsushi/Hazuki, because I still think it's up in the air whether or not, she's going to survive, who's going to survive in this story. She could very much have an accident and, end up dying, and then their spirits get back together. Who knows? But we definitely see that there's more to Atsushi than we once thought. He wasn't just somebody withering away in his bed. There was more to him, and now that he's actually having the capability of using Hazuki's body, he's emptying his bank account and he's stealing all his things, and you have to really wonder, what is the motivation? Is he just trying to screw Hazuki up, in the real world? Or is he actually doing something more? Now, I think this plays into the dream world that Hazuki's in, which I said, Hazuki seemed to get a lot of forward progression in this one. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that in this dream world, he's starting to finally question, what is this all about? Why am I here? He's piecing together that, Atsushi is basically using his body in the real world to start new drawings, thus the little pixie Hiroka that's in the dream world with him changes sizes whenever, Atsushi's actually doing some drawing. But this little pixie is almost like his savior, because she tells him, you're going to get caught up. You're going to stop asking questions, and at some point you're going to be stuck here. You may never get back to your real world life. And this coincides with some very interesting memories that he has of being with Hiroka in the flower shop that become very vivid. They become like he's existing in that moment once again for real. So it's almost as if something's trying to challenge him and see if he'll forget about the real world life and stay in this dream world. But of course, the little pixie Hiroka, as I say, she's very much the lifeguard of Hazuki in this dream world, because she tells him, if you get caught up in these memories, you're going to not be able to differentiate anymore real from not real. Your ego's going to expound, and you're just going to get lost in this place and never return to your body. And this finally awakens inside him a fear of that actually happening. And by the end of, there's a point where he does contemplate maybe, the key to Roka's happiness is letting her spend some more time with her husband in the real world. But then he backpedals from that and he realizes, no, I made a promise to her. I have to live up to that promise. And his promise, basically was that he would outlive her. But he wants to see her again. He wants to fight for her. And by the end of the episode, when he jumps in that little hole in the flower pot under the water in the dream world, and he's sort of flying through that white space, I think he's flying back to his body, or at least to a plane of existence where he can fight the soul of Atsushi, who's acting very questionable at this point. And what it all leads me to suspect is that maybe Atsushi is doing this on purpose. Maybe he's challenging Hazuki to see if Hazuki is worthy of having his wife, if he will fight for her, if he will be honest, tried and true, and somebody that Atsushi can move on to the next plane of existence in death and trust leaving behind with his wife. And so I'm just really excited to see the next episode and how this is all going to play out. I mean, it could still pretty much go any which way, as I said in the last couple of reviews, and for a series like this to really capture my imagination and really make me that intrigued, to be dying to know who's going to end up with who's going to survive by the end. Is Hazuki going to put up a fight? All of these questions that hang over my head when I watch the episodes is the mark of a great series. I only wish more people were watching it. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below or as a video response what you thought of the episode if you've seen it. And otherwise, that's going to be pretty much it for me on this one. I loved it. I can't wait for the next. And catch you all later. Peace.